little song called Don't Fight the Water. All that you can do, put your feet onto the floor, find the strength to just get through. Bring your spirit to the shoreline, lose your troubles like your clothes. Step into the water and relinquish your control. Relentless like the ocean, always pounding on the shore. And the low tide leaves you longing, high tide you can't take anymore. The water's always moving, you can't find a place to rest. Just keep your head above the water, fake a smile and do your best. Let the water rinse away, dissipate your disarray. Take a moment, it's okay. Don't fight the water. Easy, or that the world is not unkind, but there is peace in moving water if you change your state of mind. So bring your spirit to the shoreline, lose your troubles like your clothes. Step into the water and relinquish your control. Step into the water and relinquish your control. Let the water rinse away, dissipate your disarray. Take a moment, it's okay. Don't fight the water.
And so right here, right now, in the water of oneness that is the source and spirit that involves and envelops each of us, I acknowledge this truth, that we are each here as unique expressions of source, of spirit, of this water that is ever flowing in as and through us. And as I know this is true for me, I know this is true for each one, I know this is true for us as a community. And so today, as we celebrate Mother's Day and approach the idea of building healthy boundaries, I know that we are all uplifted, supported, and empowered by today's celebration. That our souls are filled, and that we get that rejuvenation that we need to go forth into the world as the greatest expressions of love that we are, because that is our truth. And we remember that today, we demonstrate that today, and we welcome that today as divine expressions of the One. And so with deep gratitude for this teaching, for this truth, and for this beautiful community of which I am so blessed to be a part, I simply release this word into law, knowing that it cannot come back to me void, and that it is already done. And so I simply let it be. And I invite you to join me in saying, and so it is. Welcome to Center for Spiritual Living Morristown, a vibrant community where love, joy, and inclusivity are at the heart of everything we do. Here, we honor the unique journey of every soul, offering a place of healing, growth, and celebration. Together, we create an atmosphere of openness and love, where every person is seen, valued, and accepted just as they are. So my name is Lori Carlson. I am a licensed practitioner here at Center for Spiritual Living Morristown, and I am very grateful to be here speaking with you today. You have already heard from the amazing Andrew Dunn, who will be back with more original music several times during the celebration. And he has CDs in the back that are available. His new CD is out. So I encourage you to all pick that up. So, whether you're here in person, great to see all your faces on this beautiful Mother's Day, or whether you are watching the live stream or checking out the replay at a later time, we are glad you are here. We want you to feel like a part of this community, because we are a community because of each other, right? That's what makes us a community. And so we are so happy that you are part of this journey of shared wisdom, light, and transformation. So the 2025 theme for CSL is Rising Higher, Growing Deeper. And in May, the topic is Raise Your Voice. And this week, I'm going to be talking about building healthy boundaries, and how ironic or synchronistic it is that we're talking about building healthy boundaries on Mother's Day, right? There's a lot of us, that's the first boundary we actually have to make, is with our mother as we're born. So anyway, we are going to start, as we always start, which is with our Namaste practice. So I invite you to put your hands together and to turn to someone, and because it's Mother's Day, I invite you to think of this Namaste as the Divine Mother in me recognizes and honors the Divine Mother in you. Because we know, male, female, whatever, there is a Divine Mother within each of us, and that is Source, that is Spirit. So turn to one another, and you can either say Namaste, or you can say, the Divine Mother in me recognizes and honors the Divine Mother in you. And now we're going to change it up a little, and we're going to have some more music. Thanks, Andrew.
Okay. Just have to retune a little bit. So yeah, I'm not trying to market, but I'm just really excited about my CD.
So are we.
I got it Thursday. Oh geez, let's not drop this one too. Got it Thursday. There it is. So this song, when I wrote it, it's called Believer. It's on the CD. And I get to sing with my daughter, which is a lot of fun. And I actually modeled this song because my daughter's a songwriter too. I'll get her here eventually. She wrote a particular song, and I don't remember what the song was exactly, but I really loved this particular phrasing she did. So I kind of copied that phrasing. And then I started recording these songs and said, oh, I'd love for you to sing harmony on these. And I said, how would you like to sing on this one? She goes, that one's my favorite. And I'm like, oh, you want to know why? So that was a treat. It's called Believer. And it's meant to be ambiguous in that it's a love song, but it's not sure whether it's to a divine being or to a spouse or from a mother or to a mother. I love it. It's called Believer. Make it easy to concede. You consume me like a fever. Such a simple thing to do, to say exactly what you need. You could make me a believer. You're spend your time turning water into wine, giving blind men eyes to see. With the waving of your hand, calm the waters on command, as you turn your eyes to me. And if I should go astray, you will not give up on me. Your faith, it gives me motivation. You're content to spend your time turning water into wine, giving blind men eyes to see. With the waving of your hand, calm the waters on command, as you turn your eyes to me. I believe in all you are. I'm sure miracles are true. And I can feel your eyes on me as I turn my eyes to you. You make it look so easy, the things you do for me. You could make me a believer.
So beautiful. So, building healthy boundaries. Well, I just want to start off with a disclaimer. I am not a mother, so I know that I have no experience with how difficult it is to build boundaries with children. So I just want to say that right up front, because in 12-step, and most of you know my story, we always say you speak from your experience, strength, and hope. So I do not have any experience with the experience of being a mother. So I just want to say that because I know that that makes things very difficult. Drawing that line with someone who is your own child has got to be way more difficult than I can even comprehend. But I'm going to be speaking today about building healthy boundaries from a point of principle, from a point of this teaching. And I'm not saying that it's easy, and I'm not negating any of the difficulties of mothers and of families and of situations, but I just wanted to acknowledge that. Acknowledge for all the moms out there how difficult the job that you do is and how difficult creating healthy boundaries can be. I know, like I said, I'm not a mom, but I have people that call me their spiritual mom. And I am a great aunt. I love being an aunt because it's not a full-time commitment, right? But so I'm really good at that. But I also recognize from the point of being a daughter, right? I had a mother, and I'm very blessed. I had a loving mother and a loving family. I have no complaints about my childhood. But she did not model healthy boundaries for me. She was very enabling. She would always said yes. And I mean, for me, it was great. As a kid growing up, she was the one who drove us. She baked cookies. She was always, everybody wanted to come to my house. All my friends used to call her Mrs. C. You remember that show, The Cunninghams? Mrs. C. My mother's nickname to all my friends and my brother's friends was Mrs. C, because she never said no. She was always there. And that was a great thing as a child, right? Having that experience. But years later, as an adult or a young adult, I got to see how that resonated with her. And I got to see the resentment and the anger and the feeling of being put upon. Because not only did she say yes to her children, she said yes to everybody. She was always the volunteer, she was always doing service. And I grew up with that model of always saying yes, of always putting yourself out there. And I know I have been guilty of saying, I always say yes. Well, I've stopped saying that. I have come to understand that my sacred no is just as important as my yes. And that's what comes from this teaching and from the understanding that what is it we believe? We are all unique individual expressions of the divine. And so as such, I am totally worthy of my own love, of my own worth, of my own well-being. But we have to choose to do that again and again. And like I said, you know, a lot of us grew up without models of how to do this, with unhealthy models in addictive households or abusive households or even loving households, but that did not model boundaries. And when we create a boundary, we allow for someone to express their own self as well. It's like, what is me and what is you, right? What do children do? But push the boundary, right? See what they can get away with. I know I certainly did. But the whole thing is, I know science says, like, you know, studies have confirmed that by having secure boundaries, you make the child feel safer. You make the child have more freedom to become who they are. It's not freedom in terms of no boundaries, but it's freedom in a feeling of safety. And that's something we can do for others as well. When we create boundaries, we allow others to truly be who they are. Because when we overstep our bounds, when we do too much, right, we are taking on somebody else's journey. And we are not really allowing them to have their own. So, I like this quote, boundaries define us. They define what is me and what is not me. A boundary shows where I end and someone else begins, leading to a sense of ownership. And that sense of ownership is the ownership of your authentic self, of the knowing of your truth, of the knowing of your inner divinity. And when you stand in that place, you have strength, you have power. And even though I'm not saying that these boundaries are easy, I'm not saying that they're not difficult, but when you come from that authentic place of knowing who and what you are, then you are coming from a place that's empowering. And you model that to others, right? They see you doing it, and people may push back. People may not like boundaries. People may say, oh, you know, that's selfish or self-centered. But when you truly come from a place of knowing your own truth, and you stand in that divinity, then people inevitably see it. You know, when you respect yourself, people see that in others. Alanya von Zant says, you set the standard for how others treat you. Your boundaries define your worth to yourself. So when you do not set a boundary, then you are not honoring the magnificent spirit that you are. When you let others trample on you, or when you put yourself out there too much so that you're overwhelmed and exhausted and depleted, how is that honoring your inner divinity? How is that being one with spirit? It is not. And it is not selfish or self-centered to come back into that place of honoring the spirit within you, honoring your own divinity. That's what we believe in this teaching. And that's the work. That's the spiritual journey. And like I said, I'm not saying it's easy, but that's what we come back to again and again. And relationships actually become easier when we set clear boundaries. As odd as that may seem, they actually become easier because you stay with who you are and I stay with who I am. And I am not overstepping and I'm not letting you overstep on me. When you don't have clear boundaries, you set yourself up for resentment and you set the other person up for entitlement. And that is not a truly loving and giving spirit. When you stand in your authentic self and you choose to say yes and you choose to give from that place, then that is true giving without manipulation, without coercion, without tit for tat. That is true giving from a space of knowing your own worth And let me tell you, this is not easy for me. Like I said, I always used to say yes. And since I started working on this talk, I need some drink, sorry. The universe, I'm fighting off a cold, so my mouth is dry. Hold on. The universe has provided me with many opportunities to practice. Isn't that the way it goes, right? If you ask for patience, if you pray for patience, what do you get? But many opportunities to practice patience. So I started thinking about what I was going to say about building healthy boundaries, and OMG, did the universe provide me with opportunity after opportunity after opportunity to walk the talk and to really embody that which I'm talking about. And like I said, it's a continually ongoing process for me. It's not something that is a one and done. It's not something that I'm always good at. But this week, I'm very proud of myself, because this week I said no to some things I really wanted to do, but that were overextending me. I said no to speaking at another center where I really want to speak. But I said, you know what? This is going to make my summer, like, this is going to take away the one weekend I have to go to the beach and do nothing. So I said no. I said, no, I'm sorry. I thought about it. I went within and I said, what feels real truth for your, in alignment with your truth? So that's where we come to a place of really healthy boundaries, is aligning ourselves with our own values and truth, and going within to find out what that is. You know, like I said, my mother enabled me for many, many years. I mean, you know, I was very grateful for their support, but in retrospect, I think what would have happened, what would my life have been if they had stopped helping me? If they had stopped, you know, they used to pay my rent, I was an addict, you know, like I would go to them. I actually moved home. I think I've shared this here before. At 54, I moved home because I lost my place in the city in the midst of my addiction. But I wonder, I mean, and I know that everything had to happen to arrive at where I am now, and I am grateful for where I am now, and I'm grateful for the learning and the growth of all that time. But I still wonder, what would have, how my life would have been different, what would have happened if they had made clear boundaries. And so going forward, I see in other people that by making clear boundaries, you allow other people to have their experience, to have their own journey, right? You're not manipulating, you're not changing their own progress. And it's very difficult, I know, and like I said, I'm not a mom, I know it's even harder as a mom, but when you overdo, you don't challenge them to step up. I always knew I could count on my parents. I always knew. I didn't have to really, you know, step up and do it. I could, you know, they would always, if I got in trouble, they would always pay for it. I mean, you know, like I knew that. And so it didn't force me to go forth and stand on my own. So that's a boundary that you can use to help others. By keeping your own boundary, you allow others to progress in their own way. Plus, by keeping that boundary, you create a sacred space for yourself, right? When you're not overextended and exhausted and depleted, you can spend that time on your spiritual journey. It always comes back to that awareness of your oneness with spirit, your awareness of who and what you are. And that's what we learn in this teaching. That's why we're so blessed to have this center and to have one another, because we get to come back to that place. You know, in AA, we always talk about being right-sized. And that does not mean that you are less than or more than. It means that you are equal to. And I think that's difficult for a lot of people, right? We make boundaries because we're trying to win someone's love, because we're trying to be approved of, because we don't really value ourselves. We don't understand the truth of who and what we are. Thich Nhat Hanh says, you yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserves your love and affection. Well, how many people believe that? Do you believe that, guys? I mean, do you really feel that? Or do you feel like, well, maybe somebody else deserves a little more? Or maybe I need to give a little more to somebody else. It's not self-centered to love and care for yourself. It is a healthy boundary that allows you to show up for others, that allows you to be the expression of spirit that we know that we are. And maintaining healthy boundaries is one of the ways that we keep the channel to spirit open. Because when we're overextended and exhausted and depleted, we're no longer listening to that inner voice, right? We're no longer hearing our intuition. We're no longer allowing spirit to express through us. And so therefore, self-care and making healthy boundaries becomes a really important part of being able to show up for others, of being able to be the best that you can be. Okay, so I am going to, thank you, somebody's trying to give me a cough drop. So I'm going to read a poem. I can't do a talk without reading a poem. So this is not one of mine, unfortunately, but it is a poem that has a lot to do with what I'm talking about. And a lot of you probably know it. It's called Mending Wall by Robert Frost. Something there is that doesn't love a wall, that sends the frozen ground swell under it and spills the upper boulders in the sun, and makes gaps even two can pass abreast. The work of hunters is another thing. I have come after them and made repair where they have left not one stone on a stone. But they would have the rabbit out of hiding to please the yelping dogs. The gaps, I mean, no one has seen them made or heard them made. But at spring mending time, we find them there. I let my neighbor know beyond the hill, and on a day we meet to walk the line and set the wall between us once again. We keep the wall between us as we go, to each the boulders that have fallen to each. And some are loaves, and some so nearly balls we have to use a spell to make them balance. Stay where you are until our backs are turned. We wear our fingers rough with handling them. Oh, just another kind of outdoor game, one on a side. It comes to little more. There where it is, we do not need the wall. He is all pine and I am apple orchard. My apple trees will never get across and eat the cones under his pines, I tell him. He only says, good fences make good neighbors. Spring is the mischief in me, and I wonder if I could put a notion in his head. Why do they make good neighbors? Isn't it where there are cows? But here there are no cows. Before I built a wall, I'd ask to know what I was walling in or walling out, and to whom I was like to give offense. Something there is that doesn't love a wall, that wants it down. I could say elves to him, but it's not elves exactly, and I'd rather he said it for himself. I see him there, bringing a stone grasped firmly by the top in each hand, like an old stone savage armed. He moves in darkness, as it seems to me, not of woods only and the shade of trees. He will not go behind his father's saying, and he likes having thought of it so well. He says again, good fences make good neighbors. Sorry, I need a sip. So the point of the poem is that as much as he talks about the elves breaking down the wall and the cow, it's not being necessary, they walk along the wall and together they replace the stones. So it talks about, there's a real message here about maintaining a boundary that allows both sides to be free, that allows communication without expectation, without judgment, just allows for you to be you and me to be me. And sometimes we have to go back and replace those stones. Sometimes we need to rebuild boundaries. Boundaries don't always stay the same, right? I know in my life that things change. We all change. We are always evolving. And I know right now I'm struggling with having to change a boundary around a relationship of someone who doesn't see who I am anymore. And so I have struggled with this, but I have decided that if someone can't honor the divinity within me, if someone can't see who I am, then I need to build a boundary that does not allow that to come into my consciousness, right? And one of the ways that I decide what I'm going to say yes to and no to and where I'm going to build a boundary is we go within. I go within and I say, what does this feel like in my body? And then I think, how much mental space is this taking up, right? If saying yes makes me think about it all the time, I'm like, okay, that's taking up too much mental energy. Maybe I should have said no, or vice versa. I pay attention. And that's where it always starts, right? It always starts with awareness. So how do we do that? We bring our conscious awareness to our motives. We allow ourselves to be honest with ourselves. It's not about defending ourselves, it's about declaring ourselves. I am perfect, whole, and complete. I am an expression of the divine. That's what this teaching tells us. And when you come from that place, then it makes other decisions and boundaries and choices maybe not easy, but clear. It makes it a little easier to do when you're coming from a place of awareness. And then you ask yourself, where am I feeling overwhelmed? Where am I feeling resentful? Where am I feeling like I'm doing something that's out of alignment with my values and my truth? Because it always starts with being aware of it, right? If you're just going through without paying attention, then nothing changes. And once you are aware of it, it takes conscious choice to use the tools, to use the pause. Oh my God, the greatest tool there is. Pause. Pause before you say yes. Pause before you react. Pause before you make a decision. And go within and see what your heart has to tell you. Your body will speak to you. I know that when I'm uncomfortable in my body, something's wrong. When I feel that, feeling, I know that I'm not in alignment with my truth. I know that something is out of sync. So boundaries help us stay in alignment with our truth, as difficult as they are. So I try to do this in my daily affirmations, right? I affirm for myself that which I want to demonstrate. And we can do this in all kinds of ways, like I choose self-care over burnout. I honor my own inner divinity, and I trust my own yes and my own sacred no. Because that no is so sacred, and most of us forget that. Most of us have a difficult time with that. And then, once you've been aware and you've acknowledged it and chosen it, you get to choose yourself. You take an action and you voice it. So the theme for this month is raise your voice, right? Well, this is how you raise your voice in creating boundaries. You speak it. You say, hey, look, I'm not available. First you pause. Hey, I'm not available to discuss that right now. Or, hey, I need another few minutes. Or, hey, I don't want to do this. I'm going to go take a walk. I'll get back to you. But you take the action, the small step, to affirm and speak with your voice what is true for you. And that takes some strength, that takes some awareness, that takes conscious choice. And when you say that, when you say, I'm not available to discuss this right now, or, not now, get back to me later, you are not saying I don't care about you. You are not saying I don't love you. You are not saying I'm selfish and self-centered. You are saying, I respect you enough to be honest. I trust you enough to be clear. And I love myself enough to honor my sacred yes and my sacred no. And create a boundary between us that allows both of us to flourish. So I have a friend, Caroline, who has a garden. I'm going to do a little metaphor. And she showed me how she had to dig a trench in the middle of the garden to stop these invasive flowers, which I thought were really pretty, but which are weeds to her, from going over to the other side of the garden. She had to dig a boundary. She had to build a boundary. And so she could create on the other side of the garden that which she wanted to create. And that's true of us too. When we build boundaries, we create a sacred space that allows us to grow what we want to grow, that allows us to flourish, right? And we can't do that if we have invasive things coming in. And so you can build boundaries around relationships, around thoughts, around practices, around emotions, whatever it is. It's about building that boundary so that you are not at the beck and call of invasive things at the social media or whatever it is, or your childhood memories of what you were told, so that you can stay in choice. Because those boundaries are always up to you. And you get to choose. So, I think that in that choice there is such power and strength. And I think that as difficult as it is to choose ourselves, that is a reflection of the spiritual journey. That is what we are here to do. To learn how to really demonstrate the divine within us. When we are shining that divine, we are modeling that behavior and that consciousness and that understanding for everyone we meet. And while it may seem like they all want you to just say yes and be agreeable, when you stand in your truth, people will respect that. Maybe not right away, but they will. Because you are a divine being. And you are worthy of your love and your good. And when we choose ourselves, we are choosing the path of oneness and wholeness and recognizing our divine nature. So Ernest Holmes says, there is something in you that says yes to the universe. Well, I would add to that, there is also something in you that says no to what is not aligned with your good. And I would suggest you listen to that. I would suggest you implement that in your life and allow yourself to honor who you are, to honor the divinity within you by building healthy boundaries that not only encourage you to grow, but that allow someone else to grow. Remember, staying in your lane allows someone else to be in theirs, right? So, both are holy, yes and no. Both are sacred when you come from a place of truth. So how can you go forth sounds so biblical. How can you go out into the world today and build healthier boundaries by little decisions? I invite you to bring some awareness to how you can choose again and again. Choose yourself. Recognize that you are a divine being and you are worthy of a boundary that allows you to flourish. Okay, now we're going to have another song from Andrew, and then I'm going to be back to lead you in a meditation about that boundary and flourishing within it.
I wish I had a song about boundaries, but I'm not very good at them. So my older daughter, Emily, just graduated college on Friday. Don't clap for me, I didn't do it. This was written the morning that she was born, because she was a C-section, she was breech, so we knew when she was going to be born. I woke up at like 5:30 in the morning, and I thought to myself, I'm emptying the dishwasher, going like, this is the last time I'm putting away dishes, not as a dad. It was really emotional for me for whatever reason, so I wrote this song that morning. And I didn't plan on doing this. I haven't played this in a long time, so we'll see how it goes. Wake up, said the morning, I wanted to be clear. We're only here a little while before we disappear. Time to wait for no one, we won't be here again. And I want you to remember in the end. Watch the northern geese go southward as the seasons start their turning. Feel the chill of morning born before the sun is burning. I have brought you to this moment just like you see only one. Feel the earth spin around. Take the time to keep your feet on solid ground. Stop, look around while you're alive. Yeah.
Thank you, Andrew. Okay, so now we're going to stop and look within instead of look around. So I invite you all, this is a meditation that I wrote, and since I'm going to write it, read it. So since I invite you all now, if you're comfortable to do so, to close your eyes. Andrew, would you like to give us a little background sound? Thank you. Okay. Let your hands rest gently in your lap. Let your shoulders drop. Just come into this moment. Inhale and exhale. Again, inhale and exhale. And then I invite you to let your awareness gently settle into this moment, into this talk of healthy boundaries, into this recognition of the divinity that you are. There is nowhere else to be. There is nothing to fix. You are an expression of the divine. So I invite you to bring your awareness into your heart space and to see the light, to see that spark of the divine within you. Acknowledge its presence. Know that it is always there. And then from this place of safety and home that is the inner light within you, I invite you to imagine that you are standing in a beautiful field. The grass is green, the breeze is blowing, the sun is shining, the sky is clear. It looks like whatever is your greatest vision of this place, because this is your sacred space. This is where you are at home, where you express your inner energy and life. Now imagine that this space is surrounded by a glowing boundary of light. Not a wall or a fence, but a vibrant, energetic field. It surrounds you and keeps your safe space sacred. It simply defines where you begin and someone else begins. And you feel safe and whole here. You feel grateful and joyous to be in this sacred space, this sacred container, to be safe within the boundary that you have created. In this place, your yes means yes, and your no means no, and you are anchored and grounded in your truth. Just take a few breaths there and see what that feels like. To be in this beautiful space, to be anchored in who you are, to be rooted in truth and love. And then I invite you to imagine someone approaching the luminous edge of your energy, that vibrational boundary. Someone is approaching with a request, with a question, with a need. Before reacting, pause. Pause and go within. How does your body feel? What does your heart say? If it's a yes, then you are in alignment and give with gratitude. If it's a no, stand firmly in your truth. Whichever arises, if you are in alignment with your inner self, it is all good. Say to yourself, I honor my inner self. I honor my energy. And that boundary doesn't collapse. You're not being invaded. You are just recognizing the vibrancy, the love, the life, the truth of who you are. So let's just take a few breaths in that choice, the yes or the no, centered in knowing of our oneness with divinity. Centered in the truth of who we are. Rooted and safe, but yet seeing others, allowing others, just allowing them on your terms. This is the place of power. This is the place of peace. To be firmly rooted in your own truth and to enjoy the field of joy that is your consciousness when you truly know who you are. So just take a few breaths. Maybe smell what the field smells like. Smell the grass, smell the breeze, smell the flowers, whatever it is for you, and just internalize that. And know that you can come back here at any time. Know that you create that vibrational boundary in your consciousness, in your heart, in your recognition of the truth. And so, as we gently and slowly come back to the room, I invite you to carry this vibrational boundary with you. To remember that you can turn again and again at any moment to that place within you where divinity lives. And you can use that strength, that truth, that wholeness to honor your sacred yes as well as your sacred no. And stay firmly rooted in who you are. So you can wiggle your fingers and toes, gently open your eyes, and come back to the room. Now, one of the ways that we maintain our boundaries is with our abundant giving. So this is the time for our conscious giving. So I invite you, I'm going to pass the basket, I invite you to give to this community that sustains you, that fills you up, that allows you to understand the boundaries that create your oneness with Spirit, that create the life that you choose to live. So I'm passing the basket. There's also a Venmo and a PayPal code up here. You can text to give. You can go on our website and hit donate. There are many ways to give. You can also give by signing up for a social hour. We need someone for next week. So I'm going to pass this. If anybody wants to volunteer to do social hour, that is also another way to give. You can also give by bringing friends, by bringing people to community. You can also give by coming to our events and supporting our center. So there are many ways to give, and I invite you to give from that place of generous abundance, from that place that feels filled up. There are no boundaries when it comes to giving. The law of circulation is as you give, so you receive. So I invite you to give from that energy. And you can all repeat this affirmation with me. My conscious gift goes forward to bless abundantly myself and my community, and comes back to me multiplied again and again. I am grateful to be in the flow of good. And so I share it generously. And so it is. Okay, so we're going to have Andrew come back up for a song, but first I have some announcements. Okay, so first announcement is we have our own Sharon Cheston doing a Qigong class on Thursday nights. There's a sign-up sheet over here. I think it starts next week, right, Sharon? This week. This week. So there's a sign-up sheet over here. You have to register on Breeze. There's limited spaces, so you need to sign up. Also, we have a sound bath with our very own Kat Roman coming up on Sunday, June 1st. This is also very limited space. You need to sign up. There are flyers. You can sign up on Breeze, but don't miss your spot. It always fills up. And Kat is an amazing sound healer. There's Science of Mind magazines up here. Science of Mind magazine is now $11.95, and there's nickels up there for anybody who doesn't believe in abundance and wants their nickel back. But the Science of Mind magazine is 2 months, and we are trying to really support it because it is kind of wavering right now. So they are really encouraging people to take out subscriptions to support Science of Mind magazine. And it is a wonderful tool. I read mine every morning. There's a wonderful daily reading, and there's great articles, and it's a really fabulous thing. So if you haven't read one, there are still some up here. Please take one or buy one. Okay, and we also have a live music concert coming up that Kathy Ronka has been so great to organize with Ed, I'm not going to say this name right, Soronsky and Mark Benfonte. Coming up on Sunday, the 22nd of June. I'm going to put this flyer up here. Is there a Breeze link for it yet?
No.
No, okay, so we're just announcing save the date. Save the date so that you can come, and it's going to be an awesome, I think I'm speaking that Sunday. So come, hear me speak, and then stay for the concert. Okay, so those are our announcements. And I'm going to close us out the way we always close out celebration here, with a spiritual mind treatment. And then we're going to have Andrew come back. How blessed are we? We get 4 songs from Andrew today. He's going to come back up and lead us in another song. Sorry, guys. I need to sip.
Try to drop. It's good.
Okay. So, I invite you to close your eyes. This is a spiritual mind treatment, which is our word for affirmative prayer, which means that we are just affirming the good that we believe. We are not begging or beseeching to a God outside of ourselves. We are going within to that place of inner divinity and affirming our oneness. And so right here, right now, in this place of unity that is this community, in this place of oneness where we know the power and presence of the divine source of all that is, where we are in alignment with that energy as it flows through each of us. And so I affirm for each one here that knowing that truth, we easily create boundaries that honor the divinity within us. That we have been empowered to do so by this time together today, and that we go forth as expressions of the divinity that we are, knowing that we can best model that by self-care, by boundaries that support us, empower us, and uplift us. And I know that this is the truth of this community. I know that this is the truth of each one here. And so I simply affirm that we align ourselves with this. We allow this presence to flow through us. We allow for our good, and we are divinely guided to create whatever boundaries, to create that vibrational boundary around us that help us to be the best expressions of spirit that we can be. And so with deep gratitude for this time together, with deep gratitude for this beautiful teaching that allows us to know this truth, with deep gratitude for each one here, I simply release this word into the law that always does unto us as we believe. And so as we bring our consciousness into the belief of the truth of our wholeness and our oneness with spirit, it must be so. So I invite you to join me in saying, and so it is. Amen, hallelujah. Okay, Andrew, we're going to have another song from Andrew. And I am always available for Treatment Express after, even though I'm going to maintain a little distance because of but if anybody wants Treatment Express, I am available.
Are you sick of me yet? I feel like 4 times is a lot. That's good.
Can you do 5?
I can do 2 hours, believe me. This was a lullaby. So I'm part of a songwriting group online, and the woman who runs it was having her firstborn baby, and we got a bonus prompt to write a lullaby for Laurel. So this is what came out. The baby's name is not Grace, but it's called Amazing Grace. It's not that hard, dude. That's so much better. You were just an idea, an emotion too big to hold, with nowhere to go. Love can't overflow, you needed another soul. You must have looked down, saw straight into our hearts, thinking that maybe you'd be our baby, the sum of our separate parts. We're grateful for you, blessed to be in this place. Baby girl, it's true, you are amazing grace. Fly, know when you do, our love goes with you, as big as the sky. We're grateful for you, blessed to be in this place. Baby girl, it's true, you are amazing grace. is